Hello Transmanians, and welcome back to another travel journey video. In this episode, I begin my trip by taking the Toronto subway through downtown to Union Station. From there, I board a Megabus that takes me across the provincial border into Quebec, arriving in downtown Montreal, just a short walk from Montreal Central Station. Next, I ride the Montreal Metro and make my way to the Montreal Coach Terminal, where I catch an Orléans Express bus to Quebec City. The journey concludes at Gare du Palais, conveniently located within walking distance of Old Quebec. So how was the bus travel experience from Toronto to Quebec City? Was it comfortable, or were there any disappointments along the way? Watch the full video to find out. We begin our journey in downtown Toronto at the intersection of Carleton Street and Yonge Street, standing outside College Station on Line 1, Yonge-University. After leaving home, my day was supposed to start with a straightforward subway ride to Union Station, just a few stops away. However, what should have been a smooth and simple commute quickly took an unexpected turn.
Keep the TTC safe. Report any suspicious activity to station staff, a TTC special constable, or a police officer. If you see something, say something.
While waiting for the train, I was notified of a service delay south of Rosedale Station, which brought everything to a halt.
Attention customers. Line 1 Yonge-University has delays of up to 10 minutes. Line goes between Bridge Station and Davisville Station due to an operational issue.
Minutes turned into more than 20, and I began to feel the pressure of the clock. With a bus to catch and time slipping away, I was faced with two options: sprint to the terminal or call an emergency Uber, which would cost significantly more than a regular TTC fare. I hesitated, not wanting to risk missing my connection. Just as I was about to book the ride, an announcement came through: regular subway service had resumed.
University, Southbound Orléans Station is now clear and regular service has resumed.
I put away my phone and anxiously waited for a train that should have arrived long ago.
Line 1, doors on.
if it's super, my 5 minutes to go into the station faster immediately.
Next station is Dundas Station. Arriving at Union Station. Doors will open on the left.
The train ride to Union Station left much to be desired. What should have been a quick and straightforward trip turned into a stressful experience filled with uncertainty, questioning whether the next train would arrive in time or if I would need to rely on a costly Uber as a last resort. This experience highlights the potential risks of relying on the Toronto subway system. Delays can happen without warning, which is why it's always wise to begin your commute well ahead of schedule to account for any unexpected disruptions. Fortunately, despite the delay, I was able to make my way to the bus terminal calmly. That said, arriving earlier, as I usually do, would certainly have made the experience more comfortable. Upon exiting the subway, I arrived at Toronto's Union Station, which serves GO Transit, Via Rail, and the Union Pearson Express. I was in the Bay Concourse on the station's left side, with access to shops like Shake Shack below and Tim Hortons above. For more dining options, the food court is located in the York Concourse on the right side of the station. To reach the bus terminal, I exited Union Station via the Scotiabank Arena entrance and turned left to find escalators leading up. The Union Station bus terminal, located on the second floor of CIBC Square, serves major carriers like GO Transit, Coach Canada, Flixbus, Ontario Northland, Trailways, and of course, Megabus. Owned by Metrolinx and connected to Union Station by pedestrian walkways, it opened on December 5th, 2020, replacing the old terminals. The Megabus I boarded was scheduled to depart the terminal at 7 a.m., with stops in Scarborough, Kingston, Kirkland, after crossing into Quebec and its final destination in Montreal. Although the display screen indicated Ottawa, this particular bus does not travel there. To reach Ottawa via Megabus, a transfer at the Kingston bus terminal would be required. For a more direct option without transfers, Ryder Express offers a more logical choice for traveling to Ottawa by intercity coach. Heck, the Ryder Express bus to Ottawa was going to depart the same time as Megabus at 7 a.m. The bus terminal spans 2 floors, with a Second Cup cafe conveniently located on the main level. Its sleek, modern design is visually striking and reflects its recent construction and opening in 2020.
Proceed to Zone C Gate 11.
When I booked my ticket online, the Megabus seat map displayed a double-decker bus, which is typically used for the Montreal route. I selected a front window seat on the upper level for an additional $10, bringing the total cost of my ticket to $83.60 Canadian. However, when I arrived at the platform, I was surprised to see a standard single-level coach instead of the expected double-decker. Initially, I thought I was at the wrong bus, but this was indeed the correct departure. Because I had paid extra for a specific seat, I felt misled. It was clear there had been a last-minute equipment change, but no communication was provided to inform passengers. If Megabus had notified us in advance, it would have helped avoid the confusion. For comparison, when I booked 2 Via Rail tickets for my return trip, Quebec City to Montreal and then Montreal to Toronto, I received an email notifying me of a schedule change shortly after booking. While the change was slightly inconvenient, I appreciate being informed. That level of transparency was noticeably absent with Megabus. As a result, I was left feeling as though the extra money I spent for a premium seat had gone to waste, an unfortunate and avoidable experience. Boarding the bus was somewhat awkward due to the high volume of passengers. Given that this was a standard single-level coach, rather than a double-decker, the bus was understandably crowded, and I wasn't sure if I'd even get a window seat. Fortunately, I managed to quickly secure a decent one. However, the legroom was extremely limited, among the most uncomfortable I've experienced on an intercity coach. For taller passengers, enduring that level of confinement for a nearly 7-hour journey was far from ideal. On the positive side, the power outlets were functional this time, unlike the previous trip. The seats also included footrests, and a small cup holder was attached to the seat back, a detail I better understood thanks to feedback on a previous Flixbus video I posted. While the holder looks flimsy and awkward, many passengers made good use of it. As for the seat recline, I was unable to lean back because the passenger behind me politely asked that I not do so, citing the already tight seating conditions. This added to the discomfort as there was limited space to stretch out or rest properly.
You can't lean back there. I don't know. My knees are touching me.
And as expected, the Wi-Fi didn't connect, a recurring issue on intercity buses. At this point, I've become so accustomed to unreliable onboard Wi-Fi that I simply rely on my mobile data and no longer let it bother me. The bus departed the terminal promptly at 7 a.m. with a scheduled pickup in Scarborough before a planned break in Kingston. I specifically chose the 7 a.m. departure because it had fewer stops compared to the 6 a.m. Megabus trip, which included additional stops in Whitby, Brockville, and Cornwall. I had hoped that the more direct route would lead to a smoother, more efficient journey. However, once we arrived in Kingston, an unexpected development occurred, one that would make the remainder of this 7-hour trip considerably more frustrating. After a brief ride on the Gardiner Expressway, the Don Valley Parkway, and east to Highway 401, the bus got off at McCowan Road in Scarborough. Scarborough is a district in eastern Toronto, named after Scarborough, England. Once rural, it became urbanized and diverse after World War II, attracting many immigrants. It joined Toronto in 1998 after decades of growth. Known for landmarks like the Toronto Zoo, Rouge Park, and the Scarborough Bluffs, it also retains rural areas in the northeast. Nicknamed Scarborough for its distance from downtown, Scarborough reflects a rich cultural mix and vibrant community identity. The bus was going to make a stop at the Scarborough Library, a temporary location just near the Scarborough Centre Station for the former Line 3 Scarborough RT. With the bus now at full capacity, I had a seatmate, which made the already limited space feel even more cramped. Just 30 minutes into the ride, I began to feel discomfort in my knees, caused by them pressing against the mesh on the back of the seat in front of me. It was clear this was going to be a long stretch to Kingston, the first scheduled break. Throughout the journey, I frequently adjusted my position, trying to find even a slight improvement in comfort. After a 2-hour and 20-minute ride along Highway 401, the bus finally made its way to Kingston, Ontario. Kingston, located in southeastern Ontario at the junction of Lake Ontario, the St. Lawrence River, and the Rideau Canal, is known as the Limestone City for its historic stone architecture. Originally a French trading post called Fort Cataraqui, later Fort Frontenac, it was taken by the British and renamed Kingston in the 18th century. Settled by Loyalists in the 1780s, it briefly served as Canada's first capital. Today, Kingston is a regional hub for education, healthcare, and the military, and was once home to Canada's first Prime Minister, John A. Macdonald. The bus made its way to the Kingston Bus Terminal. The Kingston Bus Terminal is the city's intercity bus station, located at 1175 John Counter Boulevard near Highway 401. Opened in 1992, it features 4 bus bays and is currently served by Megabus Coach Canada. Parking is available, and local Kingston transit routes to downtown Kingston are located walking distance south of the terminal. The bus made a scheduled stop at the terminal, providing a much-needed break and relief for my legs. Passengers traveling to Ottawa disembarked here to make their transfer. The terminal itself was fairly standard, offering the essential amenities: a waiting area with restrooms, a few vending machines, a microwave, and a small convenience store for snacks. While nothing particularly remarkable, it met the basic needs of travelers. For those seeking additional options, a Tim Hortons was conveniently located just across from the terminal. The bus to Ottawa had finally arrived, but this marked the beginning of an unexpected delay. The Montreal-bound bus remained stationary, and it became clear there was an issue, most likely a scheduled crew change. At that point, the new driver for the Montreal leg had not yet arrived. Based on the circumstances, it appeared the replacement driver was on another bus coming from Montreal and heading to Toronto, which was running behind schedule. In hindsight, this delay with the inbound bus likely caused the late departure of my own, further extending an already lengthy journey.
You know what? I'll look it up online. Yeah, because I don't have a pen. Okay, but are they not? Okay, so just call them for the referral because yeah, no one's called me back as yet. Okay.
After being delayed at the terminal for an hour, the bus finally departed, much to the relief of everyone on board. The one silver lining was that my previous seatmate had disembarked, giving me the opportunity to stretch out and use the extra space, which was a welcome improvement given the otherwise cramped legroom. However, the extended delay in Kingston raised the possibility of a late arrival into Montreal, adding further uncertainty to an already disrupted journey. After 2 hours, the bus finally crossed the border to Quebec. The bus made its way to the island of Montreal, into the on-island suburb of Kirkland. Kirkland is named after Charles-Aimé Kirkland, a provincial politician from Quebec, and became an incorporated town in 1961. Primarily a residential area, it features a commercial center and an industrial park that spans the Trans-Canada Highway, which was renamed the Félix Leclerc Highway in 1997. The city is largely made up of single-family homes, though it also includes a selection of multi-unit housing, such as apartments, townhouses, and condominiums. The bus made its stop at the Dépanneur Beausoir de Kirkland, located on 2875 St. Charles Boulevard. After that, it made its way to downtown Montreal to Saint-Antoine West, at Mansfield Street bus stop, just walking distance from the Gare Centrale de Montréal, Montreal Central Station. Montreal, Quebec's largest city and Canada's second largest, was founded in 1642 and named after Mount Royal. It sits on the island of Montreal between Ottawa and Quebec City. As of 2021, it had 1.76 million residents with over 4.29 million in the metro area. French is the official language, and most residents are bilingual. Now a hub for culture, business, and education, Montreal hosts the International Civil Aviation Organization and is a UNESCO City of Design. It has hosted events like Expo 67 and the 1976 Olympics, and is known for festivals like the Canadian Grand Prix and Just for Laughs. The city is also home to the NHL's Montreal Canadiens, with a record 24 Stanley Cup wins. The bus arrived at the Saint-Antoine West at Mansfield Street stop, concluding the trip. Unfortunately, it was about 20 minutes behind schedule, a noticeable decline compared to my previous Megabus experience, where the bus arrived 15 minutes early. Overall, the journey left much to be desired. Contrary to the seat map provided, a double-decker bus was not used. The vehicle had limited legroom, resulting in an uncomfortably cramped ride. Additionally, a prolonged 1-hour layover in Kingston contributed to the overall frustration. On a positive note, traffic conditions were generally light throughout the trip. However, considering this wasn't my first trip to Montreal with Megabus, the experience was disappointing and fell short of expectations. Following the bus ride, I had a short, approximately 7-minute walk to the Montreal Metro. This involved entering Montreal Central Station, taking an escalator down, and navigating a series of tunnels and escalators to reach Bonaventure on the Orange Line. From there, I took the metro to Berri-UQAM, the nearest station to the Montreal Coach Terminal. While I didn't mind using the metro, it was somewhat inconvenient that the Megabus did not terminate at the coach terminal itself. Instead, passengers are required to pay an additional fare and travel a few stops on the metro to reach their final destination. Although this added step was a bit tedious, it was manageable overall. The Montreal Metro is a rubber-tired, underground, rapid transit system operated by the Société de Transport de Montréal, aka the STM. Opened in 1966, it has grown to 68 stations across 4 lines, covering 69.2 kilometers and connecting key areas of Montreal, as well as Longueuil and Laval. It is the busiest rapid transit system in Canada, averaging over 1.1 million weekday trips in late 2024, and ranks 3rd in North America by ridership. Combined with the Réseau Express Métropolitain, Montreal has one of the continent's largest and most used transit networks. I purchased a Zone A fare for $3.75 using the ticketing machine, which issued a paper card to be inserted into the fare gate for entry. I then boarded a train bound for Montmorency, the correct direction to reach Berri-UQAM.
Prochaine station, Square Victoria, OACI. Station Square Victoria, OACI. Prochaine station, Place d'Armes. Station Berri-UQAM.
After a short metro ride, I arrived at my destination. From the station was walking distance to the Montreal Coach Terminal, where my Orléans Express bus was scheduled to depart at 4 p.m. I had over an hour to spare. Although I had the option to purchase a ticket for the 3 p.m. departure, I opted for the later bus for 2 main reasons. First, I didn't want to risk a tight connection, especially after experiencing a 20-minute delay arriving at Montreal Central Station. In hindsight, this decision proved wise, as I would have had only about 10 minutes to catch the earlier bus. Second, the 4 p.m. departure was part of a promotion, allowing me to pay just $45.99 Canadian, compared to approximately $67 for the earlier trip. With ample time before departure, I spent the extra minutes exploring downtown Montreal via the Metro. I returned to Berri Station approximately 40 minutes after exploring the Metro and followed the signs directing me to the Montreal Coach Terminal. The Montreal Coach Terminal, in French, Gare d'Autocar de Montréal, is the main hub for intercity buses in Montreal, serving nearly 300 buses daily. It offers service to destinations in Quebec, Ontario, and New York State. Opened on December 8th, 2011 at Berri and Ontario Streets, the terminal sits next to the former station, previously known as Station Centrale d'Autobus Montréal and Terminus Voyageurs. It should not be confused with Terminus Centre-Ville or Gare Centrale de Montréal, which serve different transit systems. I took a brief look around the interior of the Montreal Coach Terminal and was impressed by its modern design, reflecting its 2011 construction. The terminal features several amenities, including a pizza shop, vending machines, restrooms, and seating areas for passengers. In some ways, it reminded me of the Union Station bus terminal, particularly with buses entering through an access tunnel. Upon entering the terminal, I noticed passengers were already lining up for the bus to Quebec City, making me wish I had arrived slightly earlier. Once again, my Orléans Express ticket cost $45.99 Canadian, bringing the total for my bus travel to $129.59 Canadian. Boarding the Orléans Express bus felt noticeably more comfortable than my earlier Megabus experience. I was impressed by the ambient LED lighting along the overhead luggage compartments and the individual reading lights above each seat. One of the standout features was the absence of a seat selection fee. Passengers could choose any available seat, adding a layer of convenience. The most significant improvement was the generous legroom, which made the ride far more comfortable. Additional thoughtful touches included a rubber drink holder, sturdy enough to fit a thermos, a small plastic bag for garbage, and power outlets that functioned properly. The bus also featured a footrest and a more effective seat recliner, something I couldn't enjoy on my cramped Megabus ride. What truly surprised me was the fold-down tray on the back of the seat, a first in my experience with intercity coach travel. I couldn't believe it. While it might be too compact and unsteady for laptop use, it's ideal for snacks or holding a phone while watching videos. As for the Wi-Fi, it was non-functional, as is often the case on these intercity buses. However, I didn't mind, especially given the 200 megabyte usage limit. Instead, I simply relied on my mobile data. The bus departed the terminal promptly at 4 p.m. for a 3-hour journey. It was scheduled to make one stop in Sainte-Foy, Quebec City, before continuing to Gare du Palais, located within walking distance of Old Quebec.
Attention, bienvenue à tous. Nous sommes en direction de Sainte-Foy et Québec Centre-Ville. S'il vous plaît, mettez vos appareils électroniques en mode silencieux. Merci.
After 2 hours and 45 minutes on the road, the bus crossed the Pierre-Laporte Bridge into Quebec City. The bridge is the longest main-span suspension bridge in Canada, spanning 1,041 meters across the St. Lawrence River near Quebec City. Originally called the New Quebec Bridge, it was renamed in honor of Pierre Laporte, Quebec's vice premier, who was killed during the 1970 October crisis. The bridge connects Autoroute 20 to Autoroute 73, linking Lévis with Quebec City and routes to Saguenay. Across the Pierre Laporte Bridge is the Quebec Bridge. It is a road, rail, and pedestrian bridge. It was completed and opened in 1919, after 2 construction collapses in 1907 and 1916 that claimed 88 lives. As for Sainte-Foy, it is a suburban area west of downtown Quebec City, Formerly an independent city until its amalgamation in 2002. Now part of the Sainte-Foy, Sillery-Cap Rouge borough, it was subdivided into 4 districts in 2009. Sainte-Foy plays a key role in the city's economy, housing Jean Lesage International Airport, Université Laval, major shopping centers, and of course both bridges connecting to the south shore of the St. Lawrence River. After the bus stopped at the Sainte-Foy bus station, it was a 15-minute drive to downtown Quebec City. Quebec City is the capital of the province of Quebec and the second largest city after Montreal. As of July 2021, it had a population of 549,459, with 839,311 in the metropolitan area. Founded by Samuel de Champlain in 1608, it is one of North America's oldest European settlements. Old Quebec is home to the only remaining fortified city walls north of Mexico and was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1985. After a full 13 hours of travel from Toronto, I finally arrived in Quebec City. The Orléans Express journey was significantly more better than my earlier Megabus experience, arriving at Gare du Palais just 10 minutes behind schedule, well within a reasonable margin, especially given the rush hour traffic. Overall, it was a smooth and pleasant ride. A few days later, Megabus issued a refund for my seat selection and sent an apology via email for the unexpected bus change during my trip, which was a welcome gesture. Would I recommend taking intercity coach buses over Via Rail or flying from Toronto to Quebec City for a possible lower fare? Only if you're prepared for an hours-long journey that would take half of your day. If you choose this option, I suggest bringing your own food and planning for a layover meal in Montreal before boarding the next bus. While transferring between Montreal Central Station and the coach terminal can be a bit tedious, the metro ride itself is relatively short. As for me, I'm uncertain whether I take this route again. For the return trip to Toronto, I opted for Via Rail, which involved a simpler transfer at Montreal Central Station. While the first leg of the journey had its challenges, the overall experience wasn't too bad. Certainly room for improvement, but not too bad.